Sam Smith, 644 Rhoda Drive, Newport News, Virginia, 23608. I moved here in 1983 for work, and my mother was very excited about that. She lived in Kentucky, where I lived most of my life, and she had never seen seagulls. So I said, well, come on over here and I'll see if I can find some seagulls for you. She came over, and I looked around. It was a very dreary day, and I couldn't find any seagulls. So I took her over to the dump over in Mitchell. And there was a lot of seagulls. She took a lot of pictures. And she was so excited that she finally got to see some seagulls. That was my first look over there at the city farm. I moved away in 1997 and went up to Washington, D.C. for work again. And then I moved back 3 years ago because I wanted to retire here. And all the time that I was here, I heard news and rumors about this was going to be not the city farm anymore, but a park. So I was looking forward to a wonderful park there when I came back. And it still hasn't been done after all of that time. I was disappointed. I am disappointed. So please, don't sell that land. It's our land.
Dictionary. Well, I am Thomas Peter Charlock, 22 Executive Drive, Newport News, Virginia, 23606. Very nice to see the Planning Commission and city civil servants and fellow residents. Newport News is blessed with an energetic and dedicated cluster of people devoted to planning. When a HUD proposal, prospect for help to our East End community, advanced a notch this week, an official told the Daily Press, I went running down the hall when I saw the announcement, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs that we were shortlisted. Well, please hold your breath. That was Britta Ayers. If we're shortlisted, others are given short shrift. And that's happening on another front, too. The parties getting short shrift in the other case are all those who've enjoyed the magnificent, inspiring view of the James River along Colonial Parkway. If you want to see the James as the Indians saw it in 1600, and you're on public land in the peninsula, you have to go all the way upriver to Colonial Parkway to get away from the shipyard cranes, bridges, and power lines. But soon no more. Miles of Dominion power lines supported by towers as tall as the Statue of Liberty are on their way to Jamestown. The remedy is a planning opportunity area, the very space of this room. We can plan to remove the do not enter signs from the half-mile of City Farm waterfront. This will allow visitors to enjoy a view of the James as Powhatan once did. On their way, visitors will go through the thriving, well-integrated, and safe Riverview Farm Park, which is a small marker to the success and harmony in some of American public culture. Visitors will be impressed, and taxpayers will feel better about living here. Thank you.
Some friends suggested I did. I came to, I'll push my address yet. Okay, 151 Old Buck Road, Hampton, which I'm trying to get out of to move back to Newport News. In 1984, I came here. I did live at Newport News off of Warwick, and the shipyard was very interesting to me, but it took up a lot of land. And my sister, who loves nature, she had a house, Wanger Circle, off of Warwick. And we would walk around and do different things, and I wasn't even really aware of the city farm at that time, but I just recently drove around, and since it's, not a jail anymore, I'm thinking, gee, they had the best view of, gotta do something bad to get a good view. But anyway, I think that the land near that area where the city farm was, I'd like to see it preserved for many reasons. It is definitely a jewel to look out to see the sun setting or just on the water. And I think that all of the public, not just the luxury homes, if they go there, or sometimes some of the low-income housing, I noticed down by the Chesapeake Bay and other areas that I'm afraid to go into because it's crime. So I would like to see, it be available to all people, and so that we can enjoy nature and the birds and the trails there. And I'm almost done, let's see. I would like it to be for, like I say, a peaceful area to go, so that in our high-stress computer world, we can go chill out and just be with nature. And, when I lived here, I moved here initially in 1984 for work, and then I came back when I retired. And, it's changed so much with all the, it was 2 lanes, and now it's 4 to 6 lanes, and there's strip malls all over the place, and I just think that we could use more of the nature thing. And in closing, I'd just like to say that some places where there is water, if you're looking for revenue, there could be a all-day parking fee that could be charged for a 4-hour stay. That is some money coming in, and I think that's just about it, because other people have mentioned about the crime. And I do know that Huntington Beach, or not Huntington Beach, but Huntington Park is a beautiful park, and there is a little place for swimming down there if it's not polluted, but the banks are very steep, and like I say, Newport News is so long and skinny, but with Shipyard taking up a large portion of it, and then other houses further up from, when I first came here, Denby was just a field, now it's all grown up. So thank you very much. I hope you'll consider everybody that spoke today.
Thank you very much. 26 Mennonite Lane, formerly Mitchfield Road, formerly Oyster Point Road, goes back all the way to Warwicktown, that area. My family's been here since 1923. My father was the son of William Riley Newell, who was the man that discovered the port that changed Mulberry Island over to not being a Camp Abraham Eustace, but a Fort Eustis. He discovered that 80-foot water port that was there in Mulberry Island. And that's why we are what we are now in Warwick County, then later Newport News. There's a lot of history you guys may or may not know. The Minches bought that land from the county of Warwick. Not Warwick County, but the county of Warwick, back in the 1800s. They bought it because it had been devastated by the Civil War. There was nothing left. It was a carpetbagging family named Minch that came down and bought it. You can't find where Minchfield Road or the name of Minchfield Marina came from, but that's where it came from. And Warwick Town dates back to 1660s. That used to be a town that had a hotel, had a sheriff's office, a courthouse. I'm sure they had a place for you guys too. But it had shops, it had stores, okay? And these gentlemen that you see along here, they're from Newport News, okay? But the county of Warwick was 17 miles long, I believe. Newport News is now 23 miles long. It's 4 miles by 4 miles, when it was originally the city of Newport News. And then they incorporated it in the 50s to Warwick County. But when you go back and look at all of that, and you say, okay, well, wow, that seems really cool. Well, you can go back further. Let's go back to 1607, when Jamestown came along, and there was 3 ships that came through here. Did you know that one of them dropped off at Jamestown and started a colony, John Smith made a treaty with Chief Powhatan. Chief Powhatan oversaw everything all the way clear around to Hampton and over to Kickingham. And it was all named after different Indians and tribes and all that kind of thing. But also, one of those ships went down York River, and then one of them came back up to James River. Guess where they stopped? Deep Creek, now known as Mitchville Marina and Deep Creek Marina. They also started a town and settlement there. It wasn't a colony, but this was in 1600. That town started up in 1607 once the treaty was made. But there was explorers and settlers that came there as early as 1600. Why in the world aren't we looking at making our area a go-to place for a historical area?
Amen.
Why don't we go ahead and make some shops and stores like Warwicktown was? Try to bring some of that back. Go dig the place up. Find all the historical stuff we can, and then go back and rebuild. Make us a point on the map like Jamestown, or like over here at Smithfield Station, having a hotel, a water area, a restaurant, and also a marina and a boat landing. Why not do something big? Why are we looking at a bunch of houses? $1 million houses, sure. You can get a lot of money from that. You know, you guys, you're all elected. You're here to represent us. I haven't seen one person, met one person. My family's lived here since 1921, 23 on Mennonite Lane, Mitchville Road, now formerly Worcester Point Road, which a lot of people don't know. My daddy told me that Mitchville used to be called Worcester Point. But all of that's there. It's been there. And the history's there. You can look it up. But we're not talking about history. We're not even teaching it in our schools to our kids, where they come from, where they live. My grandson is 5th generation to live here in Newport News. I went down and I spoke at Fort Eustis when they were getting ready to knock off 4,300 men out of the 7,100 man base. I told them about the history there too, about my grandfather, about my father, how he fought to keep 7,500 men from losing their jobs when it was a 15,000 man base. They only cut off about 101, unfortunately, but it was a whole lot better than 4,300. Now we're getting ready to make a similar mistake. 4,300 men at a base, now we're getting ready to put in a few $1 million houses. For what? Taxes? If you want taxes, figure out how to make revenue like some of these other places, like the man mentioned in Virginia Beach. Make it to where it's a boat ramp. Make it to where it's a sailing boat place where we can go teach sailing. Instead of having to go all the way over to Norfolk like we do with Christopher Newport. Why don't we do the right thing? This has been in the plans. These people made investments in their homes to come here and to live here. And what do they come here? They make the investment at home because they were promised a park. I've heard several people said that they're either moving back here, they moved here because of the promise of a park. And now some investors have come in and offered big money. What have you guys become? If you vote yes on this, I know